All right, good morning, good morning. Monday morning. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. It is Monday, and we are looking at today being August 19th already. It just feels like the summer just started and it's now quickly ended. So it's quite the thing. So I have a background on, as you can see, the General Assembly background. We used to use this during COVID, actually. It's kind of fun. I'm traveling today in Chicago for the DNC. Regardless of what you think, the RNC was last month, the DNC is this month. It's in Chicago. So it's going to be an interesting time. You have thousands of people from around the United States coming here to Chicago. So down here to participate in those activities. So, to participate in those activities. We have a little bit of a glitch there. So, what we are at today is just going to give you a little update on how things are going and what we are doing here with regards to um, the state of Illinois. So, sorry, a little bit of um, feedback. That does happen sometimes. So, good morning, Gay and Bonnie. You're watching today. So, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy August 19th. So, what is today? Today, August 19th, is one of the days that people think about. Sometimes August 19th was the last U.S. combat troops to leave Iraq. August 19th, 2010, the last American combat brigade exited Iraq 7 years and 5 months after the U.S.-led invasion marked the beginning of the Iraqi war. Now we're talking about Iraq. There's also Operation Enduring Freedom and other things that happened. But that's just kind of a little snippet into today, August 19th. August 21st, Wednesday, is National Senior Citizens Day. Now, we've talked about this before. There's a national day, national month, national recognition for a lot of things. National Senior Citizens Day. Honor the remarkable achievements of our nation's older generations. It's one of those things we all look back on a favorite grandmother, great grandmother, influential grandfather, stories of, oh, when I used to go to my grandparents' house, we used to bake cookies. All those things are memorable and they're so important to our history of persons, our own individual memories, and they help shape, I think, our personalities. So, um, just give a little shout out on Wednesday, if not every day, to a senior citizen. It's not even a grandparent, might be like I remember back when I was younger, across the street was a retiree named Mrs. Bowles on Wheaton. I grew up in Wheaton on Pleasant Street, and Mrs. Bowles was a retired teacher. And so we would go over there and visit Mrs. Bowles, and she had every single board game you could imagine in her basement. And she'd let us pull out one of those board games and we'd set it up and play it with her. And I remember she would drink goat milk, which I didn't. And just a wonderful individual that shaped, my history. So it doesn't have to be a senior citizen that's related to you, somebody that, made an impact of you in your life. So they do a lot of contributions to our communities, retirees, senior citizens. They do a lot of volunteer work, read to kids in the schools, and definitely have an impact. So good morning. Good morning, Roger. Roger's tuning in. Roger, um, good friend. And thank you for tuning in. So when we look at aging, just so that you know, that the governor, J.B. Pritzker, signed an executive order for a strategic plan on aging Illinoisans. So it's a decade-long process to address the needs of our aging population. The executive order hired a chief planning officer within the state's Department of Aging. So if you are thinking about it, the Census Bureau estimates that 1/4 of Illinois population is expected to be 60 or older by 2030. So this chief planning officer will oversee the creation of a 10-year strategic plan with the goal of strengthening Illinois as an aging-friendly state so that we have programs and services for those that need it. Don't quite know who's going to fill that role. However, after the position is filled, they will start looking towards a December 2025 deadline to deliver a comprehensive plan to the governor and the General Assembly that will be turned into policy for our aging individuals. Now, aging isn't a bad thing. They say 50 is the new 40, and people that are living longer are healthier. Make sure you keep your health in check. So it's not like anything's negative, but certainly there are programs and things that should be in place for a population where a quarter of them are going to be over 60 in a little bit. So it's not just about supporting individuals that are aging adults. It's also if they're going to need caretaker needs, individuals with disabilities, they're aging as well. And so our older population of individuals with disabilities need support and services as well. Uh, Parents, and I've known many parents that are taking care of their children, and certainly um, when the parents can no longer do it, we need to make sure that the state is there to help individuals, older adult individuals with disabilities. The state does have a program called the Illinois Caregiver Support Program. There's resources for those taking care of elderly parents, neighbors, grandparents, along with grandparents who are raising their grandchildren. This is another facet of our aging adults population that needs to be addressed because we do have grandparents raising their grandchildren. But the program is small, not well known. We want to reboot that, get that going so that people know that there is support for them. So certainly this is I think it's really kind of cool and well needed. So looking forward to December 2025 and seeing what comes of the strategic plan. So last week I talked about the Olympics. Illinois, the United States did great. But what about Illinois? And we have some amazing individuals that are from Illinois that participated in the Olympics and overall. So the U.S. overall, like I said, first place spot for overall medal count and tied for first in gold medal count. And so our local Olympic individuals that brought home a little bit of bling from the United States or from for the United States in the Olympics. So Illinois athletes contributed to Team USA's medal count with half of the state's 3 dozen athletes bringing home medals. So the total doesn't include the historic medal ceremony in which the 2022 U.S. figure skating team members, including Addison native Alexa Kiernan, finally received the gold they'd won at the Beijing Games. So we had the state's best performance in years. We had athletes winning medals in basketball, gymnastics, rowing, rugby, soccer, swimming, track, volleyball, and wrestling. Illinois female athletes contributed as well, with 5 receiving medals on the athletic festival's final day. So, the last competition in Paris, Lincolnwood's Jewel Lloyd struck gold with the U.S. women's basketball team, which is just did a phenomenal job. The American squad won really, really close match over France, and they were on top of the podium for the 8th consecutive Summer Games. So we had 4 local athletes. They got silver. U.S. women's volleyball player Laura Carlini of Aurora, Dana Redkey of Riverside, and Bartlett native Kelsey Robinson Cook. Chicago's Kennedy Blades finished second in women's wrestling to cap off this amazing Olympic debut of winners. Beyond the medals, our athletes shattered records, achieved improbable dreams, and inspired others. We had Itasca native Zach Zimick, who injured his knee but fought through the pain for 8 subsequent events to become the first American man to compete 3 Olympic decathlons. Chicago's Joe Rao came out of retirement at the age of 33. I know, come out of retirement at age 33, and made an amazing comeback to compete in wrestling for his first Summer Games. Rhythmic gymnast Avita Griskus of Orland Park commuted between Chicago and New York for 3 years so she could become both a two-time Olympian and an Ivy League graduate. And then Tori Franklin of Chicago, who didn't quite make the triple jump finals, but she talked about that she found solace and happiness in her mental health advocacy efforts. Then Chicago's Shamir Little, a sprinter who wondered if she might never get a chance to compete in the Summer Games after failing to make the team on two previous attempts. After finishing fourth in the 400-meter hurdles at the Olympic trials in June, she was named to the U.S. relay team a few weeks before the competition. So she is 29. She left Paris with 2 medals, a gold and a silver. She also etched her name in the history books as she helped break the world record with the 4x400 mixed relay and set a North American record with the 4x400 women's relay. So amazing people in the state of Illinois went to the Olympics, brought home the gold. So good morning, Audie. Audie is on this morning. So good morning, all. As I said before last week, Governor Pritzker signed all the bills that were on his desk, 460 bills, without issuing any vetoes. We talked a little bit about the bills last week. A couple more bills that we can talk about here, just to give you an update. So one of the things that we learn and we have to pay attention to when we pass our bills is when things go wrong. So when things are going right, government doesn't necessarily need to step in, but when things go wrong, we look at trying to make things right by putting in more legislative guardrails, rules, regulations, penalties, the like. So a Carlinville funeral home director um, we realized that this director had been mishandling human remains for years and identified at least 80 families that were given the wrong remains of their loved one. So we passed a Senate bill that tightens regulations on what's called the chain of custody for human remains handled by funeral home directors and requirements for identifying the remains. So apparently there was a little bit of a lull in the law or rules or procedures, so we had to pass a law to tighten up these regulations so that that doesn't happen to individuals where you just don't think it's going to be possible that you would not get the proper remains from your loved one, and we have to hold people accountable. Digital driver's license. So I know this is going to come into handy with a lot of individuals, most likely the younger generation than mine, who do everything on their phone. I don't do everything on my phone, but I know folks that do, including my younger children. So we passed a bill that lays out the regulations for the Secretary of State to offer Illinois residents the option to have a digital version of their driver's license or state ID. So now there's no tickets. You can go in and they swipe their code right on the phone. It's an app. So this is really contributing to that. The cards would be issued in addition to, so not instead of. So you're still going to get your physical ID or driver's license. That's under the law, but you are also going to be able to have a digital copy of it as well for your phone. And this allows the agencies and entities who need to look at a driver's license, say if you're checking into a hotel or something other to that effect, that you can look at that on your phone in place of the physical ones. So it was passed by Cam Buckner, and we looked at other states and looked what they did. And so people in the state of Illinois will get a mobile ID card as well. Then we're looking at, again, passing the laws. We pass laws with regards to higher education as well. Everything pretty much functions of the state. We can pass a law over and we can tweak it and we can work to adjust it. So we looked at in higher education a bill, Senate bill, that bans public colleges and universities in the state from considering an applicant's relation to any past, current, or prospective donors during the application process. It also bars those schools from considering an applicant's legacy status or whether they are related to former students. So it bans them from really considering it. They can provide information. We also had another Senate bill that requires public universities to provide information about transfer fee waivers to students transferring in from a public community college. Encourages those universities to automatically waive transfer fees for low-income students. And then there's another measure that's aimed at lowering tuition costs for non-citizen Illinois residents, looking at public universities to charge in-state tuition for Illinois residents who attend an Illinois school for at least 2 years and who graduated from an Illinois high school. Require universities to look at in-state tuition for some students. So those are a couple bills with regards to higher education. We had a Senate bill that looks at the spouse or a child of someone who was wrongfully convicted of a crime and exonerated to access their state-funded benefits, and could be educational costs as well. Looking at wrongful convictions. So if somebody was convicted wrongfully, it doesn't just impact the individual, it also impacts their families, their loved ones, their whole stability with regards to their family unit. So this is providing some state benefits for individuals who were wrongly accused. So Illinois courts have overturned more convictions that we're looking at than other states in the country, but we're not really making those individuals whole like we should. So we are looking at shoring that up as well. Now, if you're going to a hotel in Chicago, in Illinois, you might be looking that they have refillable bottles on the walls. That's because the state passed a law that says that hotels will no longer be allowed to offer single-use plastic soap and shampoo bottles. Honestly, hotels have been moving away from this anyway, so it really isn't that much of an impact. But so the Hotel Association was like, we're fine with that. Large hotels with 50 or more rooms would have until July 1, 2025 to comply with the law. Smaller hotels would be given an additional year after that. It just makes sense. Then we looked at some laws with regards to the opiate epidemic. So we had a Senate bill that creates a state program to distribute fentanyl test strips. They allow people to test whether a drug they're using contains fentanyl, just because it's just everywhere. And I say, don't use drugs at all. And that would be wonderful in a perfect world, but we do not live in a perfect world, but we want to make sure people are safe. So we have that bill as well. And then we have another bill, a House bill that required coroners to notify law enforcement when they find suspiciously high levels of fentanyl during an autopsy. Hospitals are required to notify coroners of unexplained fentanyl-related deaths, but not law enforcement. So keeping that loop together. And then another Senate bill allows social workers to carry and administer opioid antagonists such as Nexalone, which is commonly known as the brand name Narcan. So social workers have the experience and they work closely with individuals at risk. And so if they need to use Narcan or distribute Narcan, well, they certainly can. We have a House bill that allows the state to provide opioid antagonists to state agencies and shields employees from liability if they administer the medication. So if you administer it, the Narcan, please do so. And then we have looked at making sure that there is minimal liability. They all pass these all pass unanimously. We did pass a House bill, 2363, bans the sale of fluorescent bulbs, the screw-in bayonet-based compact fluorescent bulbs after January 1, 2026. Pin-based and linear fluorescent bulbs after January 1, 2027. Reduces pollution health risks associated with the mercury in these kind of bulbs. They just are looking at new types of lighting fixtures at the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. So those things are important as well. Um, Supporting local journalism. So, a state-funded scholarship to journalism students planning to work in Illinois for at least 2 years after they graduate. And then we also have a law that requires new publishers to notify employees, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, county government, Illinois nonprofit in the business of buying a local news organization within 120 days prior to the potential sale. We had a law for battery storage, for electronic vehicle battery storage. We have new AI regulations with regards to really the disgusting act of AI and child pornography laws. They do apply to images and videos created using artificial intelligence, and also protecting performers and other individuals from the wrongful use of AI replicas. And then, the Department of Transportation is accepting bids for the airport in Will County, finally, South Suburban Airport. This has been going on for decades, and certainly hoping to get that opened up as well. Some laws on youth vaping regulation, and uh, and then of course we talked about these bills before, but all the bills for veterans, I've talked to those in the past. I'm not going to go through all those, but we had a huge slew of veteran bills helping out um, that, and then just recognizing, I just went through all these bills, but recognizing that these bills come from people in our community. So I talked about the fentanyl bill, which would help the fentanyl test strip bill. It was actually proposed by a Naperville college student. And so Lizzie Patterson was developing a bill that would help tackle the opioid crisis, and it was made into law. So very excited. She went to her state senator, Laura Ellman. I voted for this bill. We work with people in the community. And that's where a lot of these legislative initiatives come from. So congratulations to the Naperville North student. She's very excited about that. Lizzie Patterson, great job with that. Now, just a couple other fun things. Little Wayne concert. If you're a Little Wayne fan, broke the record at the Illinois State Fair Grandstand with attendance records. So Little Wayne packed the house. Uh, 15,427 people attended the show. The previous record was set in 2011 by Jason Aldean, who packed it at 15,329 seats. Like I said, 2011. Before that, Florida Georgia line in 2014, 15,204 sold. Reba McEntire in 2019, 14,823 tickets sold. And Hootie and the Blowfish was 13,956 tickets sold in 1995. So that's the top five um, Pack the House performers for the state fair. If you are interested in that. So let's see what we can do next year. See what we can get for that. That would be great. And then just looking at a couple other things. Congratulations to State Treasurer Michael Frericks, because he returned a record of $301 million to residents in fiscal year 2024. So again, iCash, the state's oldest consumer protection initiative. It's the state treasurer's task with safeguarding and returning unclaimed property, including the contents of safe deposit box, unpaid life insurance benefits, forgotten bank accounts, and unused rebate cards. He is legally required to return unclaimed property to its owners or heirs, no matter how long it takes. So while he's been in office, he has given back $2 billion. So look in the iCash program, see if your name is up there, and file the paperwork. And then we are finally the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity 5-year business development plan. Again, another plan. The states do that. And then we're going to leave with the talk of, again, deep fakes and artificial intelligence. The RNC was last month, and then the DNC is here in Chicago. Just be aware of the sophistication of the deepfakes and the um, just believability of some of these things. So, um, oh, Audie says, what's the website for iCash? It's on the treasurer's website. Normally, I gotta be honest with you, I don't. It's iCash.illinoistreasurer.gov. So iCash.illinoistreasurer.gov. It's on the treasurer's website. Thanks for that, Audie. Going back to deepfakes. So, a lot of individuals now are getting being targeted of satire, manipulated videos, and this is more of a new thing. There used to be like videos that were manipulated. You could kind of see that they were like uh jumpy and not quite the best, but now it's getting really sophisticated. Um so right now the DNC is in Chicago, and Secret Service agents have been shown to smile when former President Donald Trump was attempted assassination. President Joe Biden has become the target of these manipulated videos, and so a lot of these is trying to pretty much gaslight the public. So political deepfake attacks worldwide happened, in Slovakia just 2 days before the election for a seat in parliament. AI technology is used to create a fake recording of top political candidates bragging about rigging the election. It went viral. The last year's mayoral election. We saw candidate Paul Vallis, a former Chicago Public Schools chief, the target of an audio deepfake posted on the social media platform X. The artificial but realistic voice, purported to be that of Vallis, endorsed rampant police violence. Um, it, so it's tough to catch these deep fakes. But one of the things is, if something is so, I've said this before, so unrealistic and so hard to believe, or just way out there, don't share it on social media. Don't make it go viral. I mean, that poor woman who won in boxing, it went viral that she was really a man, and it's just horrible, horrible. Um, just don't share it. Don't share it. Don't comment on it. But so how do you spot a deep fake? So it's exploded, it's all over social media feeds. It can really cause harm. And you need to know how to spot them. So there are different features to look out when you are looking at a lie. So one of the things is, if it's a video, check if the audio is properly synced with the lip movement. Do the words match the mouth? Things to check for an unnatural blinking or flickering around the eyes, odd lighting or shadows, facial expressions that don't match the emotional tone of the speech. Deepfake images really they're made from a diffusion of models that can be spotted by looking for asymmetries, like earrings that are different on each side, one eye being slightly bigger than the other. Another thing they currently really struggle with is hands. So check for the right number of fingers and the size and the realism of the hands. Deep fakes have used a face swap method. So you can sometimes see the point where they blended the face into the original forehead. Sometimes there's a texture or a color difference, maybe a hairline that looks different. But that's just now. Deep fakes and technology is getting more and more sophisticated. So you might not even be able to tell unless you're a highly trained expert. So I would just say, generally, fact check everything and don't share things without checking it. To multiple news sources, multiple reliable news sources. Don't get all fired up and be like, I can't believe this is true, and shoot it off and make it viral. If you can't believe it's true, most likely it's not true. So let's just be a little bit more responsible when we're looking at sharing. Um, so other than that, there's, a couple things. If you're in the Lockport Gallery, the State Museum's celebrating recent art, if you're into art, and then the Fox Valley United Way diaper drive. So we are partnering with the Fox Valley United Way, and we're collaborating with local officials, businesses, and community organizations to create a diaper depot through donations. So baby wipes and diapers of all sizes, especially sizes 5 to 7, are needed. And we are a drop-off site here in our district office, 1677 Montgomery Road. They're right next to the dentist. So definitely, if you are so inclined to help out new parents with young kids through the United Way, drop off some diapers or baby wipes in our district office during business hours. So that's pretty much the update today. The DNC is going on all week. It is live streamed, probably the same as the RNC was live streamed last month. If you choose to tune in, Audie put in the chat that she uses a program on product on her phone. So certainly um, check that out as well in the chat. So thanks for being here. Hope you have a great Monday. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be back next Monday. And certainly, again, COVID is still out there, and be careful. Be careful when you're driving around Chicago. If you have to drive into Chicago, maybe take the train. There's a lot of closed streets because of the DNC, a lot of congestion. So please be safe. If you have to travel into the city for any time, you can take public transportation, the train line, and the like. And then hope to chat with you again next Monday. So take care, be well, have a great week, and be safe, everybody.